John, there's no mic, so you're gonna have to.
That's fine.
Yeah, okay.
I'm from East Boston. I come from a family of Italians. We scream over each other. So, well, it's humbling. It's humbling to be here, and I thank you for having me, and thank you for lunch. Thank you for Mr. McAvoy for inviting me. I'm not a public speaker, but I think there's value in my story because, you know, when I look out here today, with the few people here, I could see, you know, there's one common denominator that I can see is, it looks like successful people here. You know, successful people that, in the overall scope of things, you would look at me and say, I'm not a successful person. I'm not. I got a 35-year sentence in 1996, and, you know, I did 27 years in prison. But I think the greatest lesson that I have learned and what I could share with you, people that are successful looking at me saying, what can this guy teach me? I don't know if I can teach you anything, but I can say that I'm not blinded by what society has become. I know people are bitter about society and how it's become, and things have changed. I'm a 55-year-old guy, so things have changed dramatically. But I'm just grateful for every day that I can get up and have a day out of prison, you know. And when I was sentenced to prison, I think the thing that saved me the most is I had a very rigid routine, and I'm a guy that believes in habits make a person. I believe that. I know a lot of people say, well, this doesn't define you, this doesn't define you, that doesn't define you, but I believe habits do define you, and I'm a believer in positive habits. Because I know sometimes, even when I was a kid, I was like, man, I've been doing drugs. I've been doing drugs like 10 years every day, doing drugs. You know, and I stopped doing drugs. And I know that that time had accumulated for engaging in that bad habit. So when I got older, and, you know, I really tried to engage in good habits. That was my philosophy in prison was I need to do something for my mind and something for my body every single day. If I did that, it was a bonus. You know, if you're a chalk better, if you like to bet the chalk, I don't have a good story for you. I'm an underdog. I'm an underdog better. You know, and if you believe that fighting and losing every day is a win just because you fought, then that's what I believe in, and that's what I did my whole life. You know, and I came from great parents, great background, middle class. My father worked 2 jobs, my mother worked. But, you know, so when a person makes his own decisions, I made my own decisions of who I wanted to be. You know, I tried my whole life to show people that I was a tough guy, and I proved it to everybody, except to myself. So what I did when I got to prison was that I was the smartest guy in the whole planet when I went to prison. It's a funny thing, and I had an epiphany when I got to prison that when I started to learn about things, I started to read, I started to engage in studying, and I realized that I went from the smartest person on the whole planet to the stupidest guy on the whole planet. And when I started to learn, I think that's the most important thing as people of the community that give back to the community, like I know you all do, and you all are those type of people. If you can instill in somebody something to learn, because when I started to learn, I started to feel a sense of accomplishment within myself. And when I started to feel that sense of accomplishment, I felt like there was nothing that could hold me back. You know, I had resources. People on the street always supported me, always gave me money. You know, I wanted to go to college. I went to college, Ohio University. You know, when I was in Fairton, New Jersey, they still were giving grants. I went to, you know, a Cumberland County College. I went to school for 2 years, didn't get the degree, but, you know, I learned a lot because I had got transferred to another prison because I had lower security. I got transferred, you know, I started to do good. I mean, you know, when I first got to prison, you know, and to say this here might sound shocking to you. I've engaged in every bad behavior in prison except taking hostages. So, I mean, I was in group demonstrations, I was in riots, I, you know, had you know, in the street I had assaults on, you know, police officers, but, you know, I guess I was blinded by a lot of things. I'm rehabilitated in a system where they say people can't be rehabilitated anymore, you know? So I believe that you have to, you know, look up at yourself. You can't depend on other people to, you know, there's people in here I know that have wealth, that have businesses. You didn't depend on somebody else. When people said no to you, you went and, you know, did what you had to do to accumulate wealth, to accumulate, you know, the most important thing in my life, I believe, is fostering relationships. And I'm sure that's what everybody in this room has done successfully, because you're successful. So the only difference between me and a guy living in the Boston Common wrapped up in a sheet today or a blanket, because there's a lot of them. I see them, you know, and, you know, it's neither here nor there what the, you know, the impetus for that is, or, you know, the antecedent for how people became homeless. But the only difference between me and those people is I've fostered relationships with tremendous people. I'm tremendously blessed, because when you bring a solid guy to a relationship, and I'm not talking solid insofar as, you know, you don't tell on your friends when you commit crimes. We're not on that level. I'm trying to be a citizen today. You people are citizens. You live by a different guideline than I live by. I live by a completely different guideline, you know, different parameters of human interaction when I was a kid. But being a solid person, where your word is good, where, you know, you pay your bills on time, where just being solid insofar as a solid person, somebody can talk to, a friend would like to have. When you bring those type of people to relationships, there's no way you can lose. For me, that is what has saved me. I don't have anything, but I have a lot of people that support me, and a lot of people that believe in me and love to be around me. And I like to think that's a testament to my character and how I've conducted myself. But, you know, for me, relationships is the first thing, fostering relationships. But to me, I believe discipline for myself and engaging in good habits has brought me, you know, to a point in my life today where, you know, I've been out of jail for a couple of months. I'm living in a halfway house, but things are great for me. It's a tremendous blessing for me. People support me. I started a clothing line that's doing good. There's a demand for the product. I work for a tile company. My friend gave me a job. I'm learning another trade. Things are beyond my wildest dreams of how they could be. But I don't have much, but what I do have, I'm grateful for. I don't need much. That's one thing I learned about being in prison, is I don't need much. I just need to have, the biggest thing for me to have is my health. My family's dead. My family passed away. I have my oldest brother, who's a dear friend of Mr. McAvoy's, and that's probably why I'm here today. But that's the hardest thing for me about prison wasn't doing prison time. That's easy, because everybody does it. That's in jail. It's not like it's a big thing. When you get there, you get acclimated, you know. But, you know, you get older, you start to see things. For me, age has been the number one factor, which has made me the person that I am, because I see things differently. It's perspective for me. And, you know, my mother always said, never say never. And I don't try not to say never, but I guess I do at times. But if I can leave you with like any one thing, I would say that engaging in good habits for me has made me the person that I am. And I believe that I can overcome any obstacle. I mean, of course, the obstacle that terminates my life will be the one I can't overcome, but until that day happens, I believe I can overcome any obstacle just because of the support that I have, the discipline that I have, and, you know, at the end of the day, life is very short. So I try to see people as they are. And I try to see people in the good in everything. I try not to look at the negative, because the negative will make me bitter. If I sit around and watch Fox News every day, and I love it, but I'll be bitter every day. You know, people tell me, this isn't the way it is. We get caught. When I became conscious of who I was at, say, 15 years old, I looked around my neighborhood and said, this is the way my neighborhood was. This is the way it's always going to be. This is who I am. But it's the biggest mistake I made in my life, because the only thing constant is change in life. It's the only thing that's constant. And for me, I was trapped in 1 second in time, thought that was the world, but it was only 1 second in time and it passed. And everything evolves. So my story really isn't my story, it's my evolution. So Jay always liked to say that, you know, I taught myself Spanish. I did teach myself Spanish. And it's very humbling to say that I don't know anything, because like I said, I'm the smartest guy in the world. But I have to remain humble. My only goal in life today is that my mother and father are both dead. And if I can get up and do something every day where my mother and father look down on me and they say that I'm proud of you, that's a fulfilling day for me. You know, and that's my story. And you know, I thank you for having me today. And it was a pleasure to be here. It was a pleasure to speak to you. So thank you.